everybody, welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be a little bit different. I am going to start a new series on my channel. So I'm still going to continue with my product trials, which is where I take one makeup product and just test it for basically for like a full day and sort of give you my first impressions on how it is to apply and all of that sort of stuff. But I want to start a new series where it's going to be like the full face. So this is by no means a innovative idea. There are many YouTubers who do this where it's a full face of X cosmetic brand. So I wanted to do that as well. And when I've seen those videos in the past though, sometimes the people who do it, they call it like a full face, but they're still using other products. So I'm setting myself the challenge in this that I am completely 100% only using one brand. So it is a true authentic one brand tutorial, and if that brand either doesn't do a particular makeup product or I couldn't find it in stock or something like that, I'm not going to be doing any substitutions with another brand. So for example, if they, I don't know, crazily enough don't do eyebrow products, then I won't be doing my eyebrows, or I'll be using like a brown eyeshadow or something to that effect. So for the first video in this series, I'm going to be doing it on a company in Australia which is called BYS Cosmetics, and they are available in Kmart and Big W, I think, and a couple of other little places. They do ship worldwide, so if you do like anything you see in this video, you can of course click the link down below and you'll be able to find them. I'm going to run through and do a full face of makeup using nothing but BYS Cosmetics products and give you my opinion on how they apply, how they wear. For BYS, they are quite an affordable brand here in Australia. Most of their products range between sort of like the $5–15. I do have an eyeshadow palette here that is 20 Australian dollars, but most of their products are between that $5 and $15 mark. So for Australians, that is quite affordable cosmetics. We are hit with a little bit of a surcharge down here when it comes to makeup, so that is quite affordable for us. And I have been gathering all of my products in this beautiful bag, so I know what's there and what I still have to collect. So I have a lovely range of sandwich bags in my closet. So I'm just going to set these out and we'll get started. Instead of going in with my foundation first, I'm actually going to go in with some eyeshadow, just because I don't know if these are going to have any fallout. I will use some concealer for primer. I couldn't find any eye primers in the BYS range, so I don't know if they have them or if I just couldn't find any in stock. But I do have a dual-ended concealer here, so I'm just going to use that as an eyeshadow base. And I'll use the liquid side, so it has a liquid side there and then a solid side on that one, but I'll just use the liquid side for the base. I feel like that blended away to nothing. It didn't cancel out anything really on my eyelids. You can still see discoloration and veins, but I don't know, maybe it'll do something. So I picked up the Berry palette to try. I have heard really good things about this palette online, so my hopes are high. It just comes in a tin with two little applicators, but I probably won't end up using those. I've got my own brushes. So those are the shades there. So you just get like some really nice berry colors. It is been called a dupe for, I think it's the Anastasia Beverly Hills Renaissance palette. There are very similar tones in this palette that there are in her palette. And I have heard in the reviews that apparently the pigmentation in this is supposed to be quite good. So we will get cracking. It's got a flat top shader. I'm just going to pick up this peachy shade and just dust that all over the eyelid. And we'll see how that works for a base. It seems to be quite pigmented on the brush. Okay, well, the peachy shade was quite pigmented. It blended easily. There wasn't a lot of fallout. So I'm just going to keep going. Now, I think just with the tones in this palette, like they are very sort of wintry and kind of autumny with like the purple and sort of brown neutrals and things. So I think I'm just going to stick maybe a little bit to the purple side, do something a little bit different for me and my eyeshadow. So I'm just going to take a fluffy crease brush and I'm just going to take the colour Cherry Bomb. I'm just going to run that one very softly through the crease. I'm going to take the same shader brush and I'm just going to grab the shade Royalty, which is just more like a chocolatey brown. And I'm just going to run that just over the top of that purple shade, just to add a little bit more colour. These are really, really nice and pigmented and they're blending out really, really nice. Just going to grab another flat top shader brush and I'm going to go back into Cherry Bomb, which is that really dark colour. And I'm just going to pack it on the outer corner. Still with Cherry Bomb, but I'm going to do a little bit of a halo eye, even though I know I've already blended the colour through the top, but I am going to bring it into the corner as well because I'm just having a bit of fun. I've just cleaned off my fluffy shader brush. I'm going to take the shade Sundown, which is a bit of an orangey brown, and I'm just going to run that just through the crease a little bit more, just to make sure that all that colour is blended before I put anything on the centre of my eye. So I'm just going to focus it more on the top. These shadows are super pigmented, but I would definitely recommend just tapping the excess off because there is a tiny bit of fallout, but it doesn't happen if you just tap it off. I think I'm just going to go in with the golden shimmer shade in the palette, which is just called Glow. So that one is very fitting. And I'm just going to use my finger. It's quite pigmented. It's a little bit chalky there on my finger. So I could have some fallout. Now I'm going to pack that on to my lid, but that's okay. So I think I will leave the top eyeshadow done like that for now. And I'm just going to go in and line my eyes. I'm going to do we'll do a flick. We'll go crazy. So I do have the BYS Angled Tip Liquid Liner Pen. And I have not used this one before either. So it's a funny little angled tip. And it looks, I've only swatched it. So it actually looks pretty... like it looks okay. Like that was me on a funny angle, but that's a pretty pigmented color there. If I try and go a bit fatter, it looks a bit weird, probably because of how I'm drawing it. So it's not the best, but it also is not the worst. Not the biggest fan of the tip. It's almost like a marker tip. Not the biggest fan of it, just because I feel like I'm actually like stabbing it. It might take a bit of getting used to, but I feel like, or hope, it will be very good for doing a wing. Not the worst, not the best. It is tugging a little bit at the skin, but there is pigment there. I don't want to take the eyeliner any thicker than what it already is, so I'm just going to leave it the way it is. Like I said, I don't mind it, I don't love it, I don't hate it. I feel like just because of the tip, it's actually taking a little bit of getting used to how to hold it so you don't make so many mistakes. Okay, so next thing I'm going to do is the foundation, but before I do that, I am going to prime my face. So I have the BYS face primer with vitamin E and chamomile extract. So it's just a white primer. I can smell the chamomile in that. Just very fresh and clean, nothing too extravagant. It's settled in really quick on my skin. Skin feels a bit tacky. So moving on to foundation. I have the matte foundation in Sand Beige. Now they don't have a lot of foundation shades, which is a drag down. I think they could probably do a bit better with that. But I bought this online, so I did the best guesstimation I possibly could in terms of shade range. So we're hoping that this is going to suit my skin tone, and if not, we're here for a laugh. So the other thing that I did buy as well is BYS make their own sort of cosmetic brushes and sponges. So I just picked up one of their foundation sponges. I have already wet this. It's firmer than I would like, put it that way, and I feel like there's a firm ball still in the middle of it. I don't know if that means I should soak it for longer before trying it, but we're just going to go ahead and YOLO and do it anyway. So I'm just going to take this and dot it around my face. It's quite a thick, moussey sort of texture, the foundation. We'll see what kind of coverage it has. I'm pretty sure this one claimed on the website it was full coverage. The sponge sounds like I'm slapping something. I'm not loving it with the sponge, to be honest. I might just put that aside. I do have a flat top kabuki brush here just from AOA Studio. I really love this. I do have a review of this on my blog, so I'm going to use that just to finish buffing it in because I don't really like that sponge. I feel like you definitely get less coverage with the brush just on my forehead alone, and there was like enough product there that it should have been able to work. Definitely not the best shade match for me at all, and the cover leaves me wanting a lot more. I'm just going to try and build it up, see if I can even it out because it's looking quite patchy. I don't really want to add a third layer on top of this just because I feel like it's going to get really quite built up and yucky. I am not a fan of this foundation at all. I don't feel like I've actually gotten much coverage out of it. If anything, it is just added an orange sort of tint to my skin. With my studio lights, it's a little bit harder to see because it's brighter, but in real life, I look very dark. It's definitely pulling out any texture in my skin whatsoever, and my skin is not very textured. It's pulling out a fair bit of texture. It's highlighting my moustache that I have not yet shaven, and I don't have a lot of coverage on my problem areas. It has covered up relatively okay under my eyes, and it has masked any redness on my face, I guess, but I would not call this full coverage at all. I would call it more a light to medium. So I am just going to stop fussing with it and move on to concealer. So I'm going to take the liquid one under my eyes. Hopefully it'll add more coverage under there than what it did on my eyeballs. So I'm just going to add it there, and I'm going to use the stick side on my pimples and anywhere else. I just want to add a little bit more coverage, and we'll see how that blends out. The concealer is going out of the tube really nice with the applicator, but I just feel like it's not pulling out a lot of product, which could have been the problem before. It looked like I had enough product there, but maybe I didn't. I feel like it's almost been wiped off. Not that it's actually blended into my skin very well. I am just going to take the solid form and just dab it onto my pimples. I know you're supposed to use a brush. I can't be bothered. So I'm just going to... I feel like the stick form is blending in better with better coverage than the liquid. But now that I've done it with my finger, I'm not sure if it's just the sponge. it can't really cover this pimple here, but this is a crater, so I don't think anything's going to be able to cover it. So I'm going to move straight on to contouring. I picked up this very cute, very travel friendly contour kit. It's teeny tiny. And inside you just get your contour colors and two sort of face shades, and then the yellowy under eye shade. So I might actually set my under eye with the yellow shade. We will cross our fingers. It's finely milled. It's actually working quite nice. Now I'm just going to move on to contour. So I'm just going to take an e.l.f. angled brush, and I think I'm just going to take the middle shade. I don't trust myself taking the darker shade. So it looks like with all of the face products, they are quite powdery. So tap that off. I actually really like that. That's blending in really, really well on the skin. It's not ashy. It's matte, as contour powder should be, but sometimes you never know. It is quite a strong contour, I think. Normally, if I was going to contour that strongly, I would bake underneath it just to sort of cut it and make it really defined. But I'm not going to do that today, so we're just going to roll with it. Okay, I'm going to stop contouring. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to put on is some blush. Now, I picked up one of their blush trios. This one is in Coral Me In. It's very cute. And as you can see, it is just some intense coral shades. I think I'm just going to take that one and just sort of do a little bit of a softer cheek. Just because I think my eyes are quite intense pinky purple at the moment. So I don't want to go crazy. I'm just going to dab my... Whoa! That is pigmented. I'm going to have to smooth... And that still has that much product on the brush. Bloody hell. Okay. So much for not having a lot of blush to throw off the eyeshadow. Ooh. That's intense. I just want to swatch these blushes because that's intense. That's impressive. That middle one is gorgeous. Should have done that one. Oh well. Live and learn. So I'm going to finish off my eyes first. Now I did try and run some of the colour under my eye, but I didn't like it, so I've just fixed it up. I do have a little bit of pink sort of left there, but it will disappear once I finish it up, hopefully. If not, I'll just balance it out a wee bit. So I'm just going to go on and do my eyelashes. Now I did pick up the BYS triple lashes, and I have not used these before. Okay, the actual lashes themselves, like the individuals, feel really nice. The band is super, super thick though. So just going to snip a bit off the edge, just because I can already tell this is going to be far too big for my eye. Okay, so I'm going to stick these on and I will be back. Okay, so these are on and they are still drying down, so there is a little bit of glue. I don't hate them, but they are heavy and I am someone who is used to wearing false lashes. I can feel these so much on my eyes. I think it's because the band is so thick. So they've been advertised as triple lashes, so triple the thickness and all of that sort of stuff, which is fine, but it means they have also tripled the band on the actual lashes, and they are a little bit finicky to put down. You have to really bend them and work them so they'll actually fit your eye, and they kind of want to pop off a little bit. Like I feel like this one is probably not sitting quite where I would want it to, just because the lash band is so thick, and there's a lot of glue on there. There is a lot of glue on there, but I actually like the look of them. I think they look very fluttery, very full, and they better. I'm actually going to move on to my eyebrows before I do mascara, just to make sure that the glue has set down completely. So for eyebrows, I just picked up their eyebrow powder, Perfect Brows, just this kit. So you get a brow highlight and then 2 brown shades for your actual brow, and then it also comes with this little brush. And for the first time in a long time, I need to fill in my brows. If you did not see it, one of the last videos I posted before I went on hiatus was trying out men's beer dye as eyebrow dye, and it worked out really well. I had those brows pretty substantial for like nearly 2 months, like just over 2 months. It was really, really good. So I'm going to fill in my brows now. I'm going to take the dark brown. Actually, I might take a bit of a mix of the two. It looks much better in person than it does on the camera. The camera looks really quite patchy, but in person it looks a little bit more fuller. In real life, I would go out with these brows. They don't look as patchy as they're coming across on the camera. I'm not sure why, but I am going to go in then. I'm going to go back to the eyeshadow palette, and I'm just going to take the dark brown shade called Shaded, and I'm just going to try that. It is a little bit warmer, but maybe it will blend in with the other powder. I think that's probably as good as I'm going to get the brows today. I'm just going to go back to my eyes again, and I'm going to take the Fantasy Lash Mascara, and I'm just going to use this to push my natural lashes and the false lashes together, and then hopefully on the bottom lash line as well. This brush gives me the heebie-jeebies. It is really scary looking, and I'm fairly sure I'm going to ruin this right now by poking myself in the eye and crying, but fingers crossed. Oh, yep, first one. Oh, what is that? I don't like it. I don't like that at all. I can't really say anything about the formula of the mascara, but in terms of the application of the mascara, I do not like that at all. I can already say that because I just feel like I'm going to poke my eye out with it. And I don't think I got actually that much mascara on my natural lashes, just because I was so scared to get it too close to my eyeball. And I mean, even on the first attempt, I stuck myself in the eye with it. So I'm not a huge fan of that. In terms of what it's done on my lower lashes though, it's clumping them, and it's already sort of pushed down onto my under eye. So there's that. Okay. Now I'm going to move on to the highlighter. I am hoping that this is going to be a win. I'll be very disappointed if it is not. I have swatched these. I haven't put them on my skin yet, but I have swatched them, and they were so beautiful. I am going to swatch them on the back of my hand and try and pick what highlighter will go best with this dazzling look. So there they are, just on my hand. They look a little bit patchy, but they are a cream. So probably the worst swatch in history. However, you can tell from that. I'm just going to blend it in a tiny bit better. As I said, they are a cream, but like, look at that shine. So pretty. So obviously the more bronzy shade is not going to be for me, but that's okay. I think I will take... We'll go the gold. Let's go gold. I'll be so disappointed if this does not work. Okay. Now, because it is a cream, and I don't want to use the sponge with it. I do have another clean brush here from AOA. So I'm going to use my finger first just to sort of dab it onto the skin, and then I'm going to use the brush to blend out the edges. So again, I've just cleaned off my fingers so they're nice and clean, and I'm just going to take it and we've saved it. Just going to take it and then use the brush to blend it in. I don't really use a lot of cream highlighter, but when I do, I like to do it this way as opposed to just dabbing the brush straight into the product, because otherwise I feel like you can pick up way too much and it's really, really difficult to blend it out. That is pretty. Although I feel like it's getting maybe a bit patchy. As with a lot of these BYS products, I'm finding that they're blending out so much better with a finger than they are with any other tool. So that might be something to keep in mind if you have tried them or are wanting to try them. Now I'm going to move on to lips. I have the BYS Velvet Lips Liquid Lipstick. Now this is quite a vibrant colour in Dolly Pink. I already know this is not going to go together with what I have done on my face, but we're committed and I'm going to do a full face. So I will do a full face. It may not go, but it's just what we're going to do today. Okay, so the fluorescent pink lip is probably not going to be the choice with this eye makeup. But as an individual product, it feels really nice on the lips. It's nice and pigmented. Again, this is probably like color error from the user. So I just picked this one up. I thought it was going to be a little bit more like a muted nude, not quite a bright neon pink. So that's more user error. But in terms of formula, it's not sticky. It's not sliding around on the lips. It is quite quickly drying down to a matte finish. It doesn't feel drying though, so that's really nice. What I am going to do though to make this a little bit more succinct is I'm just going to again jump back into the eyeshadow palette, and I might just dab something. Okay, I'm just going to put that down now because I think I've already ruined it. Not really a tutorial using exactly the shades that I have used, but more of a product test. So second to last step, I'm going to go to the micro finish powder now, and I'm just going to dust this all over my face. Oh, that's nice. So you get a little powder puff with it, and it does have a bit of tape just over the little holes there, which is good so it doesn't like squash, so it doesn't squirt in your face. Black shirt, white powder, this will go down well. Now I am going to use the puff that they have provided, and I'm just going to dab it. Whew. Look at that. Fly up. Not a fan of the puff. So instead I'm going to just take my flat top blender brush again and just tip some of the powder out. It seems very finely milled. It is getting everywhere. So it is it is everywhere. It is very finely milled, I can attest to that. Okay. Okay, so I'm just going to, okay, I'm just going to take that on my flat top and I'm just going to press it into the skin. It is very, very finely milled. It reminds me of the e.l.f. Studio Fix, I think it is. No, just the e.l.f. H definition powder. I really, really like that powder, and this one reminds me of it a lot. I think I've made enough mess with that one. So the final step is a finishing spray. So this one is just their HD finish spray. I do think they have a couple of types. Like I think they might have like a matte type, a dewy type, similar to the NYX finishing sprays in terms of finish. But I just picked up the HD one. So we'll give it a go. I'll see what the spritz are. Okay. Fine spritzer, doesn't seem to be very dropletty, but we will now see. Okay, and that is it for this one brand makeup look. I am going to go through and do a quick rundown of all of the products that I used and my sort of thoughts on them. Even though I can't attest to anything like the wear time or anything like that, I will just give you my final thoughts on their application. So starting off with the concealer. Now, I do think this is a good concealer, but as I said, I did have some problems with the application. I think the coverage on it is okay. I think it's probably light, maybe medium, definitely not full coverage, but it does blend out quite easily and it seems to blend out really, really well with your finger. So I think this one is a good product. Next, I will go to the eyeshadow palette. So the Berry palette, I really like this. I think the pigmentation on these shadows is outstanding for the price. They're really pigmented. They blended so well and they seem to be really quite versatile. Like I used one of the brown shades for my eyebrows and even mixed some of them into the lip color. So they seem really versatile. They blended super well. The only difference will be if they crease or anything. Onto the eyeliner. Again, I don't hate it. I don't love it. I think it's going to take a little bit of getting used to. It's a bit of finessing to get the right angle tip. The mascara, I did not like at all just because of the wand. Like that is such a dangerous wand tip. I just feel like you're gonna like hurt yourself really bad trying to use it. Maybe it works better without the eyelashes, I don't know. But speaking of the eyelashes, I quite like them. I think they look very nice and flirty and fluffy and full. They do take a little bit of finessing. They are heavy. I've had them on for, I don't know, maybe about 45 minutes now, and they are heavy. I can still feel them on my eyes. And as I said before, I am someone who wears false lashes on the regular basis. So for me to still be able to feel the band means that they're quite heavy. I do think that I had trouble sticking them down on this eye. In the corner, it just didn't want to hold it. So I think I'm going to have to finesse it a little bit more and really, really bend the actual band and really bend the band just so it does fit the eye a little bit better. But having said that, I do think the lashes are quite nice. The next product, I'll go on with the face primer. I can't attest to anything about how well it helps the makeup to stay, but in terms of how it just felt immediately, it was really nice. I will probably keep using it. The foundation, however, I don't think I'm going to use this one very often at all, just because, as I said, it was just patchy. I don't think it applied. It doesn't look terrible. It honestly does not look bad. In real life, it is probably 2 to 3 shades darker than my natural skin tone. So they really need to work out on bringing more shade ranges, and obviously not just in the light, but their dark and their deeper skin tones really need a lot more. I just had to work it so much to get it to do anything. I think maybe because I was expecting a full coverage foundation and it gave me more of a medium coverage. That might have something to do with it. I have other foundations. I'll reach over this one basically. The contour palette, I will continue to reach for this on the regular. I really, really like the contour shades, particularly now that it has settled a little bit more on my skin and I've put the finishing spray on it. It's not as harsh as what it was, but I really like the contour palette. I will use it. Even the yellow powder that I put on underneath my eyes, I think that looks really nice too. So I will definitely get my money's worth out of that. In terms of the blushes, I really like them, but I think they're almost too pigmented. Like, I don't know how I'm going to use this without going over the top like I pretty much did today, and I was just lucky enough that I could really buff it out. I think it's going to take just a little bit of getting used to the amount of pigment that are on these. It's pretty crazy, but the colors I really quite like. I'm really eager to use that middle shade. I think that's a really pretty rosy gold one. The eyebrow palette, like the eyebrow powder kit, it didn't do anything for me. I don't think there was much color payoff at all, really. And I had to really keep like dipping the brush back in to get anything out of it. So it's, yeah. The sponge, I don't like this sponge at all. I think it just soaks up far too much product. It doesn't apply it well. It doesn't blend it out. It just, I don't like it. The lipstick, I really like how this feels. I don't think it is a shade that I am going to reach for very often, but the formula I really quite like. It has settled into the lines on my mouth, like that's just obvious. But that also could be because I have put eyeshadow over the top of it. But yeah, the shade is not really my kind of shade, but the actual formula is really nice. As for the setting spray, I did really like this. It spritzed out really well, like it was really fine. There wasn't big droplets on my face. And it did have a perfume scent to it, so if you are sensitive to scents in your products, just keep that in mind. But I will keep you updated on how this actually performs in terms of making the makeup last better and stay longer on the face. And second to last is the micro finish powder. Besides me tipping it all over myself and making a god-awful mess, I really like that powder. I think it sits really well on the face, and it did really well just to take down any of the shine. As I said, it does really remind me of the e.l.f. high definition powder. So hopefully it performs like the e.l.f. high definition powder. And last but not least is the highlighting quad. I really like this, must be no surprise. I think these are just really well pigmented. They sit really beautifully on the skin, and they just give you like a really nice glow. So I really like the highlighter. Overall, I think it's not a bad run. There were definitely some hits and some misses, but I think my face turned it out acceptable. I could easily leave the house wearing this. I don't know how long the face would last, but I could leave the house looking like this. I would probably just like dust all of the powder out of my hair from my cloud, but I would leave the house looking like this. I think the eyeshadow looks beautiful. I think the lashes are nice and fluffy. I would probably change the lip color, but everything else I think it is definitely passable. So I think this was quite a successful video, some hits and misses, and I hope you enjoyed it. If you have managed to stick around through the video to the end, because I know this has probably been quite a long one. So I will bring a few more brands. As I said, I've got like some Essence and some e.l.f. and I think even Australis is on my books as well. So if there are any brands in particular you would like to see a full face on, then please do let me know. And I think that will be it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. I'm sure it was nice and long for you, and I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you got enough out of it. Remember, I will put links in the description down below to where you can buy this from their website. And I also am continuing my monthly competition, so there will be a link to that down below if you are interested. Subscribe if you have not already. Give the video a thumbs up. Share it if you like it, and I will see you very soon. Bye!